Today I show you how to add parallax occlusion mapping to your project in Unreal Engine 5. So POM, parallax occlusion mapping, is an alternative to Tesselation, which is not adding any geometry to your mesh. As you can see, I have my planes here, and if I go under Lid to wireframe, we have a normal plane, so there is no tessellation going on. Let me show you how it works. So I'm in my POM instance, so here's the shader, which we will cover in a second, and here we have the instance. So if I put the intensity to 0, we have a normal texture. That's a normal albedo, roughness, height map, well, which is disabled at the moment, and a normal map, so a normal material. If we add 0.1, we get this really nice looking height effect. But this one is just based on a normal map and other nodes, so it's not really geometry, but it still looks nice. And it's way more performant than Tesselation. Here we can control the quality and the shadow quality. Before I show you the shader, one thing real quick. If you apply it to a plane like I did, you need to make sure to go under search and search for shadow and disable cast shadow, because if we enable it, you can see we have some weird stuff going on, so make sure to uncheck it. So now we have unchecked this, I would say let's cover the shader. The shader is pretty straightforward. We have this parallax occlusion mapping node, which you can get under right click and search for parallax. And here we have it. And besides that, we have an intensity, quality, and a shadow quality parameter, which you can get by holding S and left click and then give it a name like test. And in this box or on the left side here under default value, you can enter your default value, which you have when you connect the node and create an instance. So then we have a static bool, which is basically just a true or false value, which you can check and uncheck. You get this one by just right click and looking for static bool. So you have static bool and static switch. And then we have a constant for vector, which you can get by holding for and left click. To activate the channel, like the wet one obviously, you just go in here, go under wet and enter 1. Besides that, we have a multiply, which you can get by holding M and left click, and a lerp, which you can get by holding L and left click. And then we have our albedo, normal, and that's an ORD map, so occlusion, roughness, displacement. Red is occlusion, green is roughness, and blue is displacement. The only annoying thing is to get the height map. So we can't just get the blue channel into here, which is the height map, because the POM node is saying float is not compatible with texture 2D. So we need a texture 2D texture object to feed it into this parallax occlusion mapping node. For that I have a trick, but let me show you a trailer real quick. Transform every object into a 3D model with my ultimate introduction to photogrammetry course. I cover every step from setting up the studio to capturing the object until the export of the hyperpoly. You also get all the raw images and scans. Make sure to click one of the links below and get started with photogrammetry today. So to get the height map, I just opened the ORD map in Photoshop and filled all the channels with the same. So if we open it, it looks like this. And then I just paste it, or let me show you. I just go into the blue channel, Control A, Control C, and then fill all the other channels. And in the end, you have your height map in every channel. I saved it as a PNG and we imported that one into Unreal Engine. So when you import your height map, you have a texture sample, which is not the same as a texture object. To convert it over, you need to right click and then convert to texture object. And when that's done, you can just feed it into here and be happy, because your shader is done. Almost. We just need to add the sky atmosphere light direction, which is set to 0, so that's your light index. If you only have one skylight or directional light in your scene, it's normally set to 0. If you have multiple, you need to set the light index number you want to use here. So if you want to use 1, you need to enter 1 and then it's all cool. If you have a simple scene with a skylight, a directional light, leave it on 0 and it's all fine. And to get this node, you just right click, sky atmosphere, and then you have a lot of different stuff, and we want sky atmosphere light direction. So that's the node you want to use. And besides that, the shader is pretty straightforward. All of this stuff goes into the POM shader, and out we have like our albedo, normal, and roughness, which will get the parallax effect. And then we have some multiplying and a lerp, which you just put into the base color, the roughness, the normal, and make sure to connect the pixel depth offset into the pixel depth offset. And that's the whole shader. And when the shader is done, make sure to right click it and create an instance, so we can change stuff whenever we want to. I already did this, like I showed you before, with the intensity. So that's POM, a really nice alternative to Tesselation, and it's not super demanding on the hardware. And if you are interested how you can use Tesselation but with your terrain, you really should check out this video next.